Does your garage look like this? It's just full of junk. This place has got everything, including the kitchen sink. I'm going to get rid of all this junk, and this space back here is a great opportunity to build a workbench. We're going to show you how to build one. It is a do-it-yourself project. So let's get going. Well, we got rid of all of our junk, and as a matter of fact, we're going to get rid of it permanently because we're going to have a yard sale. I was able to find some really great plans for our workbench. See what it's going to look like? This is from Roger, the Project Pro. Got it off the internet, and I also got Roger off the internet. Welcome, big guy.
How you doing, Al?
Well, I'm doing great. I noticed the first thing we have to do is to cut off 4 legs that are 3 feet long.
Right. In here, I've already cut one off, and then you notice here I cut a notch in the top already?
Yeah.
Well, later on, we're going to go to the table saw and show them how to cut this notch. But we need that notch on the top like that so the 2x4 will wrap around that bench and give it some added strength.
Absolutely. And we're using redwood here, folks, but you could actually save some money if you get pressure-treated lumber. Now, I'm going to make a mark here at the 3-foot line. I'm then going to take the square and transfer that to the side, flip it over, transfer it there, and then flip it over. The reason being, this way we can cut off of both sides and end up with one cut going all the way through. Roger, give it a cut. And we'll flip it over. Outstanding. Now we just need 3 more of these dudes. Now we brought in our table saw for the next cut. Roger, show us how we're going to make that notch cut.
Here's that leg we cut off at 3 feet. I have a fence here. I moved that fence up and preset it at 2 3/4 wide.
Right.
From the blade. Adjusted the blade height and 1.5 inches high. That'll accept that 2x4. That's going to wrap around that bench. I'll make one cut here with 4x4 through. Then I'll roll that 4x4 over and make one more cut. Then I'll have to shut the saw off, make an adjustment, and reverse those measurements to 1.5 inches with the fence and raise the blade up 2 3/4 so I can have the 4x4 to pass through on the top side.
Okay, Roger, let her rip.
Move our rail in to 1.5 inches. And I can read that right on here on the rail. Bring that blade up to 2 3/4. How's that look, Al?
A lot more. A little bit more. Whoa, down a little bit. There we go.
2 3/4.
Well, now that we've finished our 4 legs, we need to make the band that goes around to hold the top. As you can see, there's a notch cut in there. That's called a dado, and it's 3/4 of an inch by 3/4 of an inch, which means that our 3/4 inch plywood top is going to fit right down in there. That also means that Roger's going to have to make 2 cuts to get this dado.
Right, Al. What I've done is I've set the fence on the saw at 3/4 of an inch to the outside of the blade, and I've raised the blade up 3/4 of an inch. And on 2x4, we have a rough side and a smooth side. Now, 2x4 sometimes don't come real smooth on both sides. It's hard to find a real good one nowadays, so we'll cut the dado on the rough side.
Okay, that sounds good to me. Well, now that the dados are cut, we need to cut these pieces. They need to be cut at a 45-degree angle on each end. This is a 2-foot long piece. We also need a 6-foot long piece, and that's going to give us a real nice outside corner. In order to get that cut out of here though, where we've got 2 and 6 and it's an 8 foot long, you can't waste anything. It's got to be accurate.
That's right, Al. With a power miter saw, we can do that though. First, all we have to do is move it over to 45-degree angle marked on our saw.
Right.
My first cut is going to have to be right on the corner of that 2x4. And then I'll flip it over, make a mark right here on my 2x4, which I pre-marked right here, and I'll flip it over again, and I'll make that next cut. And that prevents me from moving the miter saw around. I don't have to move it around so many times. Saves me some steps.
Go for it. Now assembly is going to be real easy. We're going to be using drywall screws. All I need to do is to get my drill and get to work. Well, okay, Roger, the other 3 pieces have really gone together nicely. We pre-drilled our holes and we're now going to put the screws in place. And once we get that done, and once Roger gets the other end taken care of, we're going to be ready to put our legs on.
Al, notice the dado cut on the top here. That's where our top's going to fit in nice and flush. So we're going to have to flip it over to attach our legs.
We've got some pre-drilled holes in the legs here to make it a little bit easier. Look how nicely that fits in there.
I'm using 3-inch rock screws to attach the legs. One in there. We'll come in from the other side here. Attach another one.
You know, with the legs in place, this is really a sturdy base. This is going to be our top right here, Roger, so we need to move this out of the way. And our top is going to be 22.5 by 70.5. I've already measured up here for 22.5.
Here's 70.5 here.
Okay, measure up 22.5 and we'll be ready to snap a line.
22.5. Let's use a chalk line here, Al. Snap this line. Got it
Let
there?
her rip.
Okay. There, makes a nice line. Chalk line works great for doing that.
All right, you going to chalk your line down there?
Yes, I am.
Here you go, Roger. You want to make your cut first?
Okay.
Okay, let's see if it's going to fit.
Got your end in there, Al? Boy, nice snug fit.
You know, instead of attaching this down, I think it's going to be better to leave it in like it is. That way, when we botch up the top, we can turn it over and use the bottom side. And if we ruin both sides, we can put in a new top without tearing up the bench.
That's right.
Hey, let's move this workstation over here and we'll put it in place on the wall. All we have to do is mount this vise up here, Roger, and we got ourselves a really first-class workbench.
It turned out pretty nice, Al. You notice underneath, though, you could add some drawers,
Yeah.
put some shelves in there, or just leave it for storage.
Absolutely. We did put the pegboard up here so we can have our tools hanging in front of us. Very handy. And we also got some heavy-duty cabinets with shelves, and I think that's going to be a good addition. If you'd like to have the plans and do your workbench yourself, why don't you contact us on the internet? It's michaelholigan.com.